Sometimes the people we never see are the ones holding the world together. The world outside still slept when Maya Bennett pushed her squeaky cleaning cart across the 23rd floor of Atlantic Plaza. The time blinked 6:43 a.m., the fluorescent lights buzzing like tired bees. She wasn't just cleaning glass and marble, she was sweeping through a life she couldn't escape. Rent was due. Her daughter Ella's birthday loomed like a bill she couldn't pay. The world didn't wait for women like her. It took what it wanted and left her holding the broom. When she stopped in front of the door marked Richard Vaughn, CEO, she hesitated. The man behind that golden name lived in a different universe: private jets, penthouses, power. Maya took a breath and slipped inside. The air smelled of mahogany and money. She began cleaning, numb to it all, until her eyes caught a folder. Declaration of bankruptcy. She shouldn't look. But she did. The numbers screamed wrong. Debt, $64 million. But her math whispered something else: $47 million. $17 million too much. Not a mistake, a setup. She froze, heart hammering, staring at the lies inked on the page. Then she heard her father's voice: "If someone had warned me, maybe I wouldn't have lost everything." She took a post-it, wrote trembling words: "Mr. Vaughn, please check the numbers. Something's wrong." And stuck it on top. One yellow square of truth in a skyscraper built on secrets. By 7:45, Maya clocked out, ready to vanish back into invisibility. But her legs refused to move. The parking garage echoed with silence, heavy and metallic. She waited without knowing why. Then, headlights cut through the dim air, a sleek black Mercedes. Richard Vaughn stepped out, looking nothing like the billionaire on magazine covers. His suit was wrinkled, his eyes red, his shoulders defeated. He clutched his briefcase like a man walking toward execution. Maya hid behind a column, torn between fear and curiosity. Did he see the note? At 7:56, her phone rang. Unknown number. Ms. Bennett? Her stomach dropped. "Yes," she whispered, "this is Richard Vaughn. Are you still in the building?" Her mouth went dry. I am. "Don't leave," he said. "Please. I need to see you." Moments later, footsteps echoed. When he appeared, he wasn't angry, he was shaking. He held the yellow post-it in his trembling hand. "Was it you?" he asked, voice cracking. Maya nodded, ready for the storm. But instead, Richard Vaughn, billionaire, untouchable, fell to his knees and wept. "You just saved my life," he whispered. $17 million. My partner forged it. You stopped me from signing my own death. The janitor who scrubbed his floors had just saved his empire. "Come with me," Richard said suddenly, wiping his tears. "Austin Monroe will be here soon. I need you as a witness." Maya's heart pounded. A meeting? With the CEO? Every instinct screamed to run, but she thought of Ella, of their small apartment, of the broken car. For once, fear bowed to purpose. She followed him into the elevator. Their reflections trembled in the glass. "Whatever happens," he said quietly, "don't be afraid. Just tell the truth." The doors opened on the 23rd floor. The office gleamed with sunlight, but tension hung heavy. At 8:27, the intercom buzzed. "Mr. Vaughn, Mr. Monroe is here." Austin Monroe entered with arrogance stitched into every step. Silver hair. Cufflinks like knives. His smile was pure poison. "Rick," he said smoothly, "I didn't expect an audience." Richard's voice was calm. "Sit down." Austin's eyes flicked to Maya. "Bringing cleaning staff into boardrooms now?" Bold. Richard's hand clenched. "She's not staff. She's the reason you're not in prison already." The color drained from Austin's face. Maya's phone trembled in her hand as she displayed the photos. The proof glowed on the screen, every forged line, every false number. Austin's smile cracked. You can't prove anything. Oh, but I can, Richard said. The FBI will handle the rest. For the first time, the devil looked afraid. Austin Monroe's mask shattered. You can't do this, Rick. We built this company together. You built your fortune on lies, Richard said. I built mine on trust. Austin sneered. You think she'll matter in 6 months? She'll go back to cleaning floors. Richard's voice sliced through the air. Get out. The door slammed. Silence lingered, sharp and heavy. Richard turned to the window, exhaling years of exhaustion. Then he looked at Maya. He was right about one thing, he said softly. I didn't see you until today. You've worked here for years, and I never knew your name. Maya lowered her gaze. That's just how it is, sir. No, he said firmly. That's how I let it be. He grabbed a notepad, scribbled something, and handed it to her. Starting Monday, you'll report to internal audit. I'll fund your training. You're not a cleaner anymore, Maya. You're my junior analyst. She froze. I can't accept. It's not charity, he interrupted. It's justice. Tears blurred her vision. That night, as she drove home, her old Corolla rattled like a ghost, but for the first time, she didn't care. The invisible woman had just changed everything. 3 months later, the chill of autumn swept through Chicago as Maya stepped into Vaughn Development, no longer through the service door. Her new ID badge gleamed. Morning, Maya, the receptionist called. She still wasn't used to hearing her name said with respect. Her desk sat by a window overlooking the skyline. The plate read Maya Bennett, Junior Audit Analyst. She touched it every morning, reminding herself this wasn't a dream. Her mentor, Clara Freeman, guided her patiently. Maya stayed up nights studying balance sheets, watching tutorials, learning every formula. The fear that once chained her now fueled her, but not everyone cheered her rise. Some whispered behind her back, the janitor miracle. Others mocked softly, jealous of what she'd earned. One day, senior analyst Roger Maddox dropped a thick folder on her desk. Let's see if the miracle can find what's wrong, he smirked. Hours later, Maya handed it back. 7 discrepancies, she said calmly. 4 serious. By the afternoon, Roger was escorted out, caught embezzling. Clara hugged her. You saved us again. That evening, Richard called her in. You see what others miss, he said. It's time you lead. A new title. A new salary. A new life. The janitor had become the company's guardian. Weeks turned into months. Maya walked through the marble halls once meant for men in tailored suits, and now people moved aside for her. But the quiet respect she carried came not from power, but from persistence. She still helped the janitors sweep up after late nights. Don't forget where you started, her father's voice echoed in meetings. She listened more than she spoke. When she did speak, the room went still. One morning, Richard Vaughn invited her to his corner office. Maya, he began, I want you on the restructuring committee. You'll be reviewing all department budgets. Her heart skipped. That meant she'd see everything, the real power behind the company. As she sifted through reports, a familiar pattern returned. Hidden expenses. Faked projects. This time, it wasn't just one man, it was a network. Millions were being drained quietly from charity subsidiaries. Late one night, alone under the glow of her monitor, she whispered, not again. But this time, she wasn't a cleaner with a note. She was the insider, the protector, the voice of truth, and she was ready to burn the rot to the ground. The boardroom looked like a glass cathedral, 30 stories above the city. rain streaking the windows. Maya stood at the far end, her documents ready. Half the board stared at her with polite dismissal. She was still, in their eyes, the janitor who got lucky. "Ms. Bennett," one of them sneered, "you're accusing senior directors of fraud. Do you realize the gravity of this?" "I do," she said, steady. "Do you?" Murmurs rippled. Richard watched her quietly, pride hidden behind his calm eyes. Maya stepped forward, projecting slides of financial trails, fake vendors, and offshore accounts. Every click of the mouse cracked their facade. One man shifted uncomfortably. Another paled. Then, a voice boomed, "Jonathan Keene, the CFO. This is absurd. These are baseless." Her voice cut him like ice. "Your signature is on all of them." The room froze. Richard stood. "Effective immediately, Mr. Keene, you're suspended pending investigation." As security entered, Jonathan's glare burned through her. "You don't know who you're dealing with." But Maya smiled faintly. "Neither do you." That night, news broke: corporate whistleblower exposes multi-million-dollar scandal. And the woman in the photo was no longer invisible. Maya's name lit up the headlines. Talk shows called her the modern-day miracle. Strangers recognized her on the subway. She was praised, painted, paraded, yet every compliment carried a cost. At home, Ella tugged her sleeve. "Mom, why do people stare at us?" "Because they finally see us," Maya said, though her smile didn't reach her eyes. Publicity became pressure. Bloggers twisted her story, calling it luck or manipulation. She must have used the CEO to rise, they whispered online. One morning, she arrived at work to find graffiti on her office door: "Stay in your place." Richard's fists clenched when he saw it. "I'll find who did this." "No," Maya said softly. "You'll let me handle it." That afternoon, she gathered the entire department. "If standing for truth makes you hate me," she said, "then hate me. But remember, without honesty, we all rot from within." The room fell silent. Slowly, one by one, her colleagues stood and applauded. Respect, once again, was earned, not granted. Success had its shadows. Nights grew longer, loneliness crept in. Ella was growing fast. School projects, piano lessons, questions about her father Maya couldn't answer. One evening, while reviewing late reports, Richard knocked on her glass door. "You haven't been home in 3 days, he said. "I can't stop now," she whispered. "Every time I look away, something breaks." He nodded. "You remind me of myself 20 years ago, before I learned that saving everyone can cost you yourself." Silence filled the space between them, heavy but honest. He stepped closer. "Maya, I'm starting the Vaughn Foundation, a trust to protect whistleblowers and fund single-parent education. I want you to lead it." Her breath caught. "Me? There's no one else I trust." For the first time, she realized, this wasn't just about numbers anymore. It was about legacy. That night, she opened her window to the city lights. Her life, once trapped in shadows, was now shining for others. But storms never fade, they wait, and one was already forming in the distance. 2 months later, just as the foundation launched, an anonymous email arrived: "You don't deserve your throne. You stole it. Proof attached." Attached was a series of doctored bank statements showing money transfers under her name, millions she never touched. Within hours, the media turned. Corporate hero under investigation. Sponsors froze funding. Reporters camped outside her apartment. Maya's hands shook as she scrolled through the false data. Someone had hacked the system, deeply, precisely, and personally. Richard stormed into her office. "We'll fight this," he said, but Maya stopped him. "No, I will." She opened a fresh document and began tracing the digital fingerprints. She had learned more than finance, she had learned truth. Hours passed. Then she froze. The IP trace led back to someone she once trusted, her first mentor. Clara Freeman. The screen glowed, her heart breaking with it. The next battle wouldn't be for the company. It would be for her soul. The name Clara Freeman blinked on Maya's screen like a wound refusing to heal. Her mentor. Her friend. The woman who'd once said, "You remind me of who I wanted to be." Maya dug deeper. Every forged document, every leaked file, all routed through Clara's credentials. The precision was chilling. Someone who knew Maya's patterns, passwords, habits. That night, she sat in her car outside Clara's penthouse, rain drumming on the windshield. 100 memories flickered, the late-night study sessions, Clara's gentle corrections, her laughter that now sounded like mockery. Maya went up. The door opened before she could knock. "Maya," Clara said, smiling faintly. "I was expecting you." The air thickened. "Why?" Maya asked. "Why destroy everything we built?" Clara poured 2 glasses of wine. "Because, dear, you were never meant to outgrow your place. I opened the door for you, and you slammed it behind me." Maya's voice cracked. "You taught me to fight corruption." Clara smirked. "Yes. But not against me." Lightning flashed. Maya's reflection glared back at her from the window, shattered, trembling, but alive. She set the glass down. "You taught me something else, Clara." "Oh? How to catch a liar." She pressed send on her phone. Richard and the cyber team were listening live. The betrayal had become evidence. By morning, the city buzzed. Vaughn Foundation hacker identified, internal source. Clara Freeman's name spread like wildfire. Maya watched from the office balcony, feeling no victory, only exhaustion. The woman she admired most now faced arrest. Richard joined her. "You did what had to be done." "She was family," Maya said quietly. "Sometimes family is who breaks you so you can rebuild." Later, in the conference room, agents collected files while Clara was let out in cuffs. Her eyes met Maya's. "You'll be next," she hissed. "Because once you start cleaning corruption, you'll find it in yourself." Those words stuck like glass in her heart. Days turned to weeks. Public trust wavered. Donors hesitated. The foundation was sinking under the weight of scandal. Even after Clara's arrest. One night, alone under the cold office lights, Maya whispered to the city skyline, "I built this from truth. I won't let it die from lies." Then she opened her laptop, crafting a new plan, one that would save not just the foundation, but everything she stood for. The rebirth had begun. Maya launched Project Reclaim, a transparency initiative that published every foundation account online. Every dollar tracked. Every expense explained. Critics called it madness, supporters called it revolutionary. The media followed her journey in real time. Slowly, trust began to return, not because of perfection, but because of honesty. She visited schools the foundation supported, meeting single parents, students, and whistleblowers. They didn't care about headlines. They cared about hope. One evening, a young woman approached her after a speech. "Ms. Bennett, I used to clean offices like you. Now I'm studying finance because of your story." Maya smiled through tears. Then it was all worth it. But behind the applause, darker forces stirred. Former executives, those exposed by her audits, wanted revenge. Anonymous threats flooded her inbox again. "We're not done with you, janitor." She closed the laptop slowly. "You should have learned," she whispered. "I clean up messes for a living." And she wasn't stopping. Late one night, as Maya left the foundation, headlights flared behind her. Too close. Too steady. Her pulse spiked. She turned corners. The car followed. She parked outside a 24-hour diner and sat, pretending to check her phone. The vehicle stopped 2 blocks down, engine idling. She texted Richard, "Being followed. Might be ex-board members." Moments later, a message buzzed back, "Stay put. Help is coming." A man stepped out of the car, broad shoulders, dark jacket. He approached slowly, stopping at the window. "You're making powerful people angry, Ms. Bennett," he said. "They want you to disappear quietly." She met his stare. "Tell them I don't do quiet." Police sirens wailed in the distance. The man smirked and walked away. That night, when Richard found her, she was calm. "They'll keep coming," he said. "I know," she replied. "But fear is just proof you're on the right road." Her resolve hardened like steel. The next day, she ordered tighter cybersecurity, bodyguards for whistleblowers, and one mission statement etched into the foundation wall: "Truth needs protection." Months passed. The foundation thrived again, funding education, sheltering whistleblowers, exposing corporate rot worldwide. Maya became a symbol, her story taught in ethics seminars and leadership programs. During a live interview, the host asked, "Do you ever regret starting this war?" Maya smiled faintly. "I didn't start it. I just stopped pretending it wasn't there." Applause erupted. But inside, she thought of Clara, of Austin Monroe, of the janitor she once was. Pain shaped her, but purpose defined her. That night, she returned to the 23rd floor of Atlantic Plaza, the place it all began. She found the old broom closet still there, dusty and forgotten. On the wall hung a single yellow post-it, her handwriting, "Something's wrong." She smiled. "Yes," she whispered. "And I made it right." As city lights reflected off the window, Maya Bennett finally felt peace, not because the world had changed completely, but because she had. The invisible woman had become the light others followed, the phoenix had risen. Maya's reputation had spread beyond Chicago. Vaughan Foundation now received invitations from London, Berlin, and Tokyo. Corporations wanted her audits, universities wanted her lectures, governments sought advice. Flying above the clouds, Maya looked out the window at the sun breaking over Europe. She remembered the cracked Corolla, the birthday cake she couldn't afford, the fear that had once chained her. Now, she sat on a private plane, passport stamped with proof that a single act of courage could ripple across oceans. In London, she walked into a boardroom filled with skeptical ministers and wealthy donors. Hands folded, eyes sharp, they expected a polished corporate analyst. Instead, they met Maya Bennett, the cleaner who became a guardian of truth. She presented the foundation's expansion plan: a global whistleblower network, real-time audits, and legal aid for those fighting corruption. Charts glowed on screens, but her words carried weight no graphic could replicate. Integrity can't be optional. It can't wait for the powerful to notice. It starts with one act. When she finished, the room erupted, not just in applause, but in commitment. The foundation now had the potential to touch millions worldwide. For the first time, Maya allowed herself to feel the scale of what she had built, but amid the triumph, shadows lingered. Old enemies waited. And power, no matter how righteous, always has those who wish to corrupt it. A call from Washington changed everything. A senator warned that some corporate interests were trying to influence legislation to block whistleblower protections. Maya sat in the dim office of a government advisor, listening as political players outlined the stakes. Every suggestion aimed to sideline the foundation's influence, protect fraudsters, and silence her work. "Do you understand what's at risk?" the advisor asked. "Yes," Maya said quietly. "And we won't be silenced." She spent nights cross-referencing law amendments, drafting amendments, and contacting allies. Every move was calculated. Every word mattered. Her phone buzzed at 3 a.m., a threatening text: "Stop digging, or history will forget you." Maya stared at it, unflinching. She thought of Ella and the tiny apartment they'd once called home. Fear could not guide her now. Courage would. The political game was brutal, but Maya was no stranger to pressure. She had cleaned floors under scrutiny, faced billionaires, hackers, and betrayal. this was just another test point. One afternoon, an old man arrived at the foundation office, frail, white-haired, with trembling hands. He introduced himself as Walter Bennett, Maya's father's former accountant. "I tried to warn him," Walter said softly. "About the fraud that killed your father's business." Maya froze. Her father's collapse had shaped her life, the fear of invisibility, the desire to act where others ignored warning signs. Walter revealed a box of documents, old ledgers that detailed her father's last business dealings, exposing the real culprits. For decades, they had gone unpunished. Maya held the yellowed papers. Every memory, every loss, every lesson converged here. She realized her path with Vaughn Foundation wasn't just saving the present, it was finally delivering justice for the past. Tears blurred her vision. "I won't let it happen again," she whispered. Her father's ghost, long silenced, had finally guided her hand toward redemption. One night, alarms blared at the Foundation's headquarters. Hackers had launched a full-scale cyber attack. Emails, bank accounts, donor records, all targeted to collapse everything Maya had built. She and the IT team worked through the night, tracing digital footprints, restoring data, countering attacks. The city outside slept, unaware that the fate of millions was being decided in a small office. Richard arrived, eyes grim. "They're organized, powerful." Maya didn't flinch. "So are we." Hours turned into dawn. Every obstacle tested her focus, patience, and resilience. Finally, they traced the attack to an offshore shell company connected to Austin Monroe's old network. The pattern matched Clara's previous manipulations, but this time, she was ready. When the morning sun illuminated the office windows, the Foundation still stood. Secure. Unbroken. Maya realized the lesson. Being unseen once had made her cautious, but being seen now demanded courage she had never known. A court case erupted. Clara Freeman, Austin Monroe, and other complicit executives faced charges for decades of fraud, forgery, and cybercrime. Maya testified, her voice steady, recounting the numbers, the post-it, the files, and the courage it had taken to act. The courtroom was silent. Every eye watched the janitor-turned-hero who had changed everything. Verdict day arrived. Guilty across the board. Decades of corruption dismantled. Tears, relief, and applause swept the room. Richard clasped her shoulder. "You didn't just save a company. You saved faith, in people, in justice, in the idea that one act of courage can ripple endlessly." Maya smiled at Ella in the audience, who hugged her tightly. The world hadn't changed completely, but for the first time, Maya understood that she had, from invisible to invincible. Months after the Chicago victory, Maya flew to Geneva to meet the International Anti-Corruption Alliance. Governments and multinational corporations filled the room, their expressions skeptical. She was no longer the janitor, but a global guardian of truth. Standing at the podium, she spoke clearly. Transparency is not a privilege. It is a responsibility. Every worker, every citizen, every whistleblower deserves a system that protects them from fraud, not punishes their honesty. The room fell silent, then erupted into hesitant applause. Maya felt the weight of the world settle on her shoulders, but it wasn't fear. It was resolve. As meetings ended, she noticed a man observing her closely, a diplomat whose eyes carried curiosity, but also an unreadable warning. Something about him unsettled her. Back in her hotel, she reviewed Foundation reports. Hidden fraud stretched across continents, shell companies, and offshore accounts. One misstep could undo years of work. She closed her laptop, whispered to herself, "No one is invisible anymore. And neither am I." The following week, a secure tip landed in Maya's inbox. A coalition of Austin Monroe's former allies had begun mobilizing. Their goal: sabotage her foundation, destroy her credibility, and reclaim the wealth they had lost. Maya analyzed every connection. These were cunning, wealthy, and patient adversaries. Unlike Clara or Austin, they weren't impulsive, they were strategic and dangerous. Richard arrived via video call. Maya, we need to anticipate their moves. They're trying to hit us where it hurts, political influence and media manipulation. She clenched her fists. Then we hit first. We expose every lead before they act. We don't wait for fear. We act on truth. Plans were drafted, secure channels established, and international partners briefed. Maya's calm determination inspired loyalty, even in the most skeptical of her global allies. At the end of the day, she looked out over the city skyline. Shadows always lurked, but now she had the fire to face them. Maya received an anonymous package at home. Inside, photos of Ella at school, a note reading, "Stop now, or this is just the beginning." Her heart froze. Fear, real, sharp, personal, cut through the usual challenges. This was no longer about corporations. This was about her daughter. Richard arrived immediately. "We'll secure everything," he said. But Maya shook her head. "No. I will not let them win by scaring me. I will act. But carefully." She installed advanced security, changed routines, and briefed her team. Every move was precise. Every decision intentional. That night, she held Ella close and whispered, "Courage isn't being fearless, it's protecting what you love even when the world trembles." For the first time, Maya realized that heroism wasn't just numbers and justice, it was love, courage, and protection. Weeks of investigation traced the threats to a hidden consortium of ex-executives and corrupt politicians. Maya coordinated with law enforcement, cybersecurity experts, and international agencies. The raid was swift. Digital records seized, blackmail schemes exposed, media tipped off. Within hours, the entire network crumbled. As the news broke, global whistleblower network foils corporate and political syndicate. Maya allowed herself a moment of relief. Richard hugged her. "You've done it again," he said. Maya smiled. "We've done it." Ella ran into her arms. "Mom, you're my hero." This time, she didn't just feel visible, she felt unstoppable. The foundation now stood on solid ground, its reach global, its mission clear. Maya traveled to meet whistleblowers, speak at international forums, and advise governments on transparency. Every story reminded her of the janitor she once was. The child who feared being invisible. The mother who wanted her daughter to see the world differently. During a lecture at the United Nations, she said, "Integrity is contagious. One act of honesty can ignite millions. Fear is temporary. Courage is eternal." The audience erupted. Cameras flashed. And somewhere in the crowd, she saw Ella, cheering with pride. Maya smiled. Her life had changed. Not because of luck, wealth, or chance, but because she chose to act when the world told her to stay quiet. The phoenix had risen. The invisible woman had made the world see. Months after global victories, Maya received a confidential report. A shadowy conglomerate linked to Austin Monroe had resurfaced. Their goal: dismantle the foundation entirely, exploiting political loopholes and media manipulation. Maya studied every detail with precision. She called Richard, Clara's old associates, and cybersecurity experts. Each plan was meticulous, anticipating moves 3 steps ahead. Her heart raced, not from fear, but responsibility. The stakes were bigger than money. One wrong move could endanger Ella, the foundation, and the hope she had sparked worldwide. That night, she stayed late in the office, scanning data, cross-referencing financial anomalies, tracing threats. Her hands shook, not from weakness, but from the intensity of what she carried. Richard appeared beside her. "You've always handled this with grace, Maya. But no one should bear it alone." She smiled faintly. "I'm not alone." With a deep breath, she set the final pieces into motion. Justice would be precise. Ruthless, if necessary. The game had begun, and Maya was ready. truth exposed in sunlight cannot hide in shadows. A live press conference was called. Maya stood behind the podium, the world watching. Screens projected data, documents, and evidence of fraud and corruption linked to the new threat, journalists whispered. Political operatives squirmed. The conglomerate's influence could not withstand transparency, her voice rang steady. For too long, the powerful have acted in shadows. Today, we bring the truth into light. The foundation will continue to protect whistleblowers and fight corruption globally. No one is untouchable. No one is invisible. The room erupted in applause. Social media exploded. The conglomerate's web of deceit collapsed under scrutiny, and arrests followed within hours. Maya's resolve had not only protected the foundation, but also ignited a global movement for accountability. After weeks of threats and tension, Maya finally allowed herself a quiet evening at home with Ella. No files. No phones. Just mother and daughter. They cooked together, laughed, and shared stories. Ella looked up, eyes bright. "Mom, you changed the world for people like me." Maya hugged her tightly. "No, baby. You remind me why it mattered. Courage isn't just about fighting, it's about love." For the first time in years, Maya felt truly safe, her past traumas and fears softened by love, trust, and accomplishment. She realized that personal victory was not just saving companies, it was protecting her daughter, nurturing hope, and finally finding peace. One spark can light countless flames. Maya traveled the world, mentoring emerging whistleblowers, advising governments, and lecturing at universities. Each story of courage she encountered inspired a new initiative at the foundation. She met workers who had been exploited, single mothers, students, and corporate insiders, people who reminded her of her past. Each success strengthened her resolve, every interview and lecture reinforced her belief: integrity was contagious. One act of courage could ripple across continents, inspiring millions. Through conferences, digital campaigns, and advocacy, the foundation became a global beacon of accountability, and Maya Bennett became its symbol, a living proof that one person could ignite a revolution of honesty. Years later, Maya returned to Atlantic Plaza, the place where it all began. The 23rd floor had changed, modernized, but the post-it note she once left remained preserved in the foundation's museum, a testament to the moment everything shifted. She stood by the window, watching Chicago's skyline glow at sunset. Ella, now a teenager, joined her. "Mom, do you ever think about that day?" Maya smiled. "Every day. That small note, a simple choice to act, it changed everything. It saved lives, careers, and even me." Richard Vaughn appeared, older but smiling. "You didn't just save a company. You created a legacy." The Vaughn Foundation now protects thousands worldwide, thanks to one brave woman who refused to be invisible. Maya hugged Ella tightly. Courage isn't about being fearless. It's about acting despite fear. Under the city lights, she finally felt complete. The invisible woman had become seen. The lost had found hope. And the world, one act at a time, was better because of her. Her story, once about survival, had become eternal, a legacy of honesty, courage, and the power of one act to change everything.